This sitting is resumed. We return to Standing Finance Committee.
This Honourable House is now in Standing Finance Committee. Honourable Member for St. Thomas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. A blessed good afternoon to everyone. I want to add my 5 cents worth, sir, to the discussion here today, but I particularly want to highly congratulate the Honourable Attorney General and his team for me, the excellent work that I see they're doing, where few Barbadians would even want to trespass on the outside of their homes to be able to come out to serve with the challenges that we are facing. And it's not only a Barbadian situation. I watch Synergy almost every night, and it pains my heart with the home invasions and the murders and so on. So please accept my highest congratulations, sir, you and your team, and the people of Barbados, because we know you're making a tremendous effort to make the difference. I want to refer, sir, to many years ago, many meaning about 15, 20 years ago, when I witnessed what transpired with the police service, then the police force, and the program that was put in place within our schools for the mentorship of children. The DARE program was an excellent program, and then the community policing, that too added. And having been in the school system for more than a quarter of a century, and seeing that injection of services for free for our young people, it blessed my heart. The children were so enthused and so engaged, and it was not only to chat with the police officers. Some of them took his hands. Some of them held a little cane, I'm not so sure what it is called, in their hands, to be able, and I saw so many of my former students choose to go to join the Royal Barbados Police Force then, now the police service. I too, Mr. Chairman, had an interest as a young girl as well. I so wanted to join the police service, but I know my personality, and somebody will hit me and then I will get into trouble. So I veered away from that into the teaching system that has given me the excellent opportunity to interact with people at all levels. I want to say particularly that the program that was done by the police officers within our schools across Barbados, coupled with that DARE program, caused numerous, I would say thousands of our children in Barbados to develop a respect for policing, and we want to be able to offer their services and to interact in activities where they knew that they were safe and the element of trust was developed. And therefore I want to find out through you, sir, and the Honourable Attorney General and the Honourable Minister of State, if they can, what plans are there now that parenting is not taking place in the way that we know, or supervision of our children in the schools and on the streets? What plans are there, if any, for this government at this particular juncture in our history to re-implement or to come up with other ideas where children in our primary school from nursery right through to secondary will get that exposure so that they get the confidence and the trust in police officers to be willing to want to work with them, and later perhaps to become police officers and persons who will work directly with them in order to make a difference. I would like, sir, to put that one on the table first. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for St. Thomas. I'm so sorry that you did not go into policing, but I'm happy to have you here amongst us. I'm going to ask the Commissioner to address your questions.
Thank you. If I would look at the whole picture where that is concerned, I would say that we in the police service have a very keen eye on identifying at-risk students at schools. And because of that, we have targeted specific schools before we go generally, because there are some schools that be more challenging than other schools. So there is a pecking order that we will work on, and we are engaging the teachers, the guidance counselors, those persons inside the school who can identify those persons who are in need of that intervention in terms of dealing with conflicts, dealing with anger management and things like that. So we in the police service identify those persons at a very early stage. We want to get in there when the minds are so much impressionable, to have the positive impressions placed in those persons, whereby as they go through the various systems in the educational structure, that they will know how to deal with issues of violence. Because if I would mention that only recently what transpired at a particular organization, and that unfortunate, but that is something that the interventions, not only the police, but other persons who have a role to play in reducing acts of violence must step on board and come to the fore and help address those issues. So it is, yes, we, the police, the teachers, and all those responsible persons in the communities that will come and help deal with this situation. So it is an ongoing process that we have to address and keep addressing continuously.
I also, sir, wish, if you allow me, sir, my other question, sir, or is the Attorney General? Yes, sir. I also want to find out how could persons like myself, meaning an ordinary citizen in this respect, and other people in the general public, be able to reach out directly to the police officers, that the communities can get opportunities to be able to see something, say something, knowing that the confidence is there when they report incidents and so on, that they recognize that then they are not afraid, because I'm seeing again what's happening across the Caribbean and the rest of the world. And people want to say something, but if they feel that there are measures there that will cause them to be identified as the persons who are the squealers, I believe that you might be able to explain to us some of the plans that you have, because I believe that we can do more as citizens once the confidentiality is put in place and up front.
The whole aspect of reassurance to members of the public, not only for us, but also working with organizations such as Crime Stoppers, that is a very readily interaction with us where that is concerned. So yes, we can speak, not normally can, but we normally speak with persons who have that fear of divulging information. The main thing is to get their buy-in and get their confidence in us as the organization, that they can feel comfortable that when they give information to us, they'll be satisfied that the high level of confidentiality will be there, and they can place their confidence in our officers. And mind you, we look at the best quality officers to deal with those sensitive issues, especially involving the youth. So we have the cadre of persons that we rely on, and it is working very well for us, so we will continue on that track.
Thank you, sir. My final query, sir, is to do with the plans to recruit more police officers in the system. And I'm saying that as a layperson, that's why I'm speaking now, living in the village where we grew up for so many years, and the relationships as well with police officers, as I said earlier, were really close. Because I live near the Straight D police station, every police, the station sergeant, everybody, we interacted many years ago. I want to find out what plans there will be. And I think it is the Honourable Prime Minister and the members of Cabinet who will have to make that decision. Most people are saying, I'll be glad to join the police force, or the police service. But however, the salary, that is something that perhaps we could discuss, because people feel that the salaries are too low for the kinds of exposure that they have when, of course, we hear so much about the guns and so. And it's a pity, and this is just a side comment, that the honourable member of the opposition, the leader, is not aware that an old man called Nard was shot right on the exterior of this building a few years back when the Democratic Labour Party was the government. I want to know what can we do to be able to improve the salaries and to attract more persons in the same way Barbados trained and send them down to Cayman Island and Montserrat and so in the past. We want them here, but what plans are there to be able to recruit them so that the confidence is developed?
Thank you, Member for St. Thomas. Let me begin by saying, though, that a very positive phenomena has been taking place. When we were last in government, we had a significant, well, by significant I don't mean large numbers, but every time you lose 3, 4, 5 police officers in a force our size, it was a significant thing. And we used to lose officers on an annual basis to Bermuda, BVI, Turks and Caicos. And that phenomena has pretty much ground to a halt. We are not seeing Barbados police officers leaving the police service to go to work in other jurisdictions in the way in which they did 15 or so years ago. Police, though, are like any other career field. People will look to change careers. I have in my chambers, SG's office, I have former teachers who've become lawyers. So you have police officers, some going to accounting, some going to other kinds of businesses, some going to farming, some going to law. So there will always be some kind of attrition in any career field, but losing police officers to other jurisdictions no longer happens. Our ability to retain police officers is of paramount importance to us. And I remind you that in our budget speech last year, the Prime Minister made 3 specific interventions into the area of policing that are intended and have had the effect of improving the professional circumstances and benefits of police officers. Let me remind you. One of them had to do with paying detectives a special allowance by virtue of that post. You know, we think of police officers as individuals who show up for work at 8 o'clock and leave at 4 o'clock in the evening. They don't. I've mentioned in another place that if an investigation starts, that officer has to stay with that investigation until whatever time it is finished. Detective work is hard work. It is sometimes dangerous work as well. And therefore, we had a number of individuals who were working as detectives, but it was important to keep those detectives in the detective field because by a quirk of how the system works, they could actually earn more money by going back into uniform. So we now have an allowance for detectives, which will see them taking home more money in their paychecks at the end of the month and having more job satisfaction. We also increased the number of police officers who are able to benefit from the Public Officers Traveling Loan Scheme, what was called the POLTA. So we now have more police officers. We've expanded the range of officers who can benefit from that scheme. The other measure that we implemented has to do with the establishment of a rank of someone called the senior constable. You will have police officers, and regrettably, because the policing age of retirement is the same as the public service, so let's say 67 years old, you can have individuals who retire from the police service at the age of 67 as constable. Apart from the fact that their health profile would not allow them to run behind a pickpocket at Christmas time in town, it was obvious that a person who has been a police constable for so long has had the benefit of wisdom garnered by work, not necessarily by exams, but by virtue of his experience or her experience on the ground. That officer will have a tremendous wealth of experience, sometimes more than those individuals who have all but learning. And therefore, we've established a rank of officer called senior constable. So in significant ways, we have tried to improve the working terms and conditions of police officers, and also to improve the morale. We've made significant inroads into dealing with their accommodation. We have a program in place to maintain all of the police stations. It's going to take a little while, but we're working on that. The CID, the linchpin of any police force. We've had challenges with them where they were accommodated, and now they're somewhat scattered. So the government has acquired the Geddes Grant building in town, and that Geddes Grant building, it is not only central, it is perfect, and we will see the CID and one or two other specialized agencies in the police service moving into that facility, and that in itself will improve the terms and conditions of how police work. The regrading exercise for the public service, I believe it has started, and the Prime Minister has made it clear. In fact, she gave me the power to tell the police association that not only will they get these early harvest benefits, but that the regrading exercise, when it is completed, should see adjustments being made to their pay relative to all of the other factors. And therefore, when that regrading exercise is completed, I believe that we will see that they will have better reason to be happy. But then there are the other softer things. We have the Hope Project to provide housing for individuals, and Hope has been mandated to treat as priority applicants members of the police service and the nursing service, and as well as the teaching service. So there are times, Honourable Member, when protective services, yes. There are times, Honourable Member, when you would like to be able to let go your hand and say, well, we're going to improve your terms and conditions by increasing your salary and doing various things, paying you at a premium. But that's not how government works. But what we have done in every instance is to take a series of calculated measures that are intended to improve the terms and conditions. But also in relation to acting. We had hundreds, well, I don't want to I don't want to use hyperbole, but in the ranks of sergeants of the police service, in the ranks of superintendents, we had a large number of individuals acting, and the direction was given. We can't say who to promote, but the direction was given to the Protective Services Commission to focus on the matter of acting positions in the police service, and in fact across all of the protective service agencies, so that individuals who are acting, who have been acting in posts for a considerable period of time, if there is nothing against them, that they should be appointed to the post. So there are a number of fronts on which we have tackled the issue of making sure that terms and conditions of our police officers are as appropriate as they can be in all of the circumstances. Is there more that we can do? Perhaps, as I said, we're focusing on their conditions, the working conditions, how the men and women are housed to work. But there's another discussion that has already begun to take place. That discussion has to do with the retirement age of police officers. It is not, we are not at a place where you can say that a policy position has been fully fleshed out, but the discussions are in a very early stage. It may not be common knowledge, but members of the Barbados Defense Force If you are below a certain rank, I think it's probably captain or something like that, your compulsory retirement age is 45. Above that, you can go to 50. Chief of staff could retire at, I think, 55, and then you can apply for extensions. Now, I think the reason that soldiers have always been treated that way is because they're soldiers. And it is anticipated that their existence would be one of being in a stance ready for war. That has happily not been our reality. But what you do have is one important branch of our protective services retiring at a far earlier age, while the police service is retiring, their retirement age is 67. So the commissioner sitting next to me is going to work for a far longer period than his counterpart at the BDF. Of course, he's a fine shape, so he can handle it. But we have to make sure that there are relativities that are addressed. And that is one of the areas, and I said earlier in the chamber today, that the health profile of the average police officer is much worse than the average person in any other profession in Barbados. So this is a discussion that has begun. In terms of recruitment, I think you mentioned recruitment. Policing, unfortunately, has not been as attractive for young people as before. I remember as a young boy, the fellows said, Babylon! and immediately there's a negative image conjured up of policing. While in decades before, the police were held in much higher esteem and much higher regard. We have had numbers of individuals applying for the police service, and I can give you some of those statistics. In 2020, we had 381 persons applying for the police service. 188 were male, 193 were female. In 2021, we had 286 people applying for the police service. Of that 286, 133 were male, 153 were females. In 2022, we had 132 applying, 68 males, 64 females. In 2023, 197, 87 were male, 110 were female. In 2024, we had 163 applicants, 88 females and 75 males. That tells us a number of things. One, we are, I guess if you apply the rough average, you would say you got about 200 people applying for the police service every year. Most of them are females. We probably have to ask the sociologists why that is, but that is a discussion for another day. But unfortunately, the police training school, as it is physically made up, is made up to accommodate more male recruits than female recruits. I think the ratio is probably 2 to 1. So we have dormitory space for just about 20-something female recruits, while the number of females applying to join the police service and being actually accepted for the service could actually outstrip males. How do we address that? We are building dormitories to accommodate an additional 60 recruits. So that those 60 recruits, we will now have space to accept more females, to accept what the market is offering. Because if more females are applying, there's no basis for artificially reducing the numbers of females in favor of males. Across the world, you'll see that professions have now become almost very unisex. So in the United States, you find female Marines fighting alongside male Marines. And our female police officers are doing a very good job. So we are increasing our capacity to recruit more females if the market is offering. Just a few years ago, I remember going to a police passing out parade. They still have them. I think it was probably around 2021. And the number of individuals, the commissioner can correct me on the year, number of individuals passing out was 18. Only 18. Only 18 individuals joined the police service that year. Happily, as a result of an aggressive public relations campaign and an aggressive recruitment drive, last year I think we had 57 officers passing out. The year before that, I think we had 60. So we've actually seen the numbers increasing. But bear in mind that while you are having an increase in recruitment, it is not a large enough increase to take care of the 290 deficit that we have. But moreover, we also have to factor in that individuals are also retiring. Individuals regrettably are dying. Individuals are changing careers. Individuals are having to leave the service because of medical challenges. So the recruitment rate slightly outstrips the attrition rate, but not in significant enough numbers to be able to allow us to say that we can replenish the numbers of police officers in a short possible time. My final comment, I will save for later.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Member for St. Thomas. Honourable Leader of the Opposition, I give you the opportunity.
3 questions at this point, Your Honor.
Yes, you can.
I'm obliged, sir.
You ask the question and then you can have 3 supplementary follow-up questions.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. This is directed, Your Honor, to the learned Attorney General, since on principle, I do not direct questions directly to the delegation. That is a matter for the learned Attorney General, if he so wishes to delegate. And of course, he's accompanied by his minister in the ministry. And the same principle will apply there too. To the learned Attorney General, I'm looking at page 78 of the larger document. And my attention is drawn to number 314. And this is, of course, the estimates as they pertain to the National Crime Prevention Program, which we have spoken much about today. Page 78 of the estimates, the larger volume. And it reads, Subprogram 0263, National Crime Prevention Program. And there are a number of categories listed there. Those categories begin with 102 other personal emoluments. I'm not interested in that. I will take my respondents, both of my respondents, down those categories, and we will come to 226 professional services. After professional services, we come to grants to individuals. I will ask now the learned Attorney General and or his minister whether those individuals are included in those numbers of persons whom the Attorney General described this morning as, and I quote, being involved in crime. I'm not going to extend it to gun-toting vagabonds, which is the language that the Attorney General used. I will not be so emotive in this question. I will restrict my question as to whether these grants to individuals pertain to persons actively involved in crime. And
The
while
answer-
you locate the answer, the estimates, the approved estimates for 2024-25 are stated, and the revised estimates are also stated. I will leave that to you, to your discretion, your being plural, as to whether you wish to disclose to the public the amounts in those grants to individuals, but the public is now interested in knowing whether those individuals include persons actively involved in crime according to this official document. I await your answer, sir. Sirs.
The answer to that question is no.
It does not.
It
Good.
does not.
Good. Now, your subordinate minister, and I hope he doesn't mind me using the word subordinate, that is only for administrative purposes. Your subordinate minister made a reference, or you, I think, no, I think it was the subordinate minister, to one of the dailies, and yes, Minister, the Honourable member for the city, said, look at the dailies on Fridays. Now, let us look at a particular daily on Friday. Recently, I think it was the month of December, or late last year. And there were 4 young men on the front page of that daily newspaper who complained that pursuant to a transaction that they had with the government was delinquent in its obligation further to an agreement to pay them monies. Now, this is a matter of public record. And the subordinate minister in this ministry has invited this country to consider a Friday daily, the Friday dailies. I now draw attention to this Friday daily, and I'm grateful to the Nation newspaper for what they did. And the entire country is grateful to the Nation newspaper for what they did. As I said, it's a matter of public record. Is it a fact that this government entered into an arrangement with those 4 young men as stated pursuant to this National Peace Program?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The answer to that would be no. I don't know if we could actually refer and get into the article, because I know you're not supposed to refer to newspapers like that, but with your permission, Chair, I would like to clarify that the Friday Daily made no mention of any promises by government. It was actually the Saturday Post, which was trying to extrapolate what happened on Friday. I was fully briefed by the Inspire Leadership Solution I mentioned earlier, who are which is really the organization that deals with this aspect of it. And they have assured me that they never made any promises of financial assistance to any individuals. However, what they did say in working with individuals similar to the program the Attorney General referenced, Chicago CRI, Creating Real Economic Destiny, one of the methodologies that they use is to invite persons who are predisposed to crime, not actively involved in crime, but predisposed to crime, or those that are under the rehabilitation pillar, to give them opportunities through training, through facilitation, through business proposals, helping them to open bank accounts, helping them to open insurance, etc. And they told me that at no time did they promise them any money, pay them any money, or promise them any financial assistance. I think what they discussed with them, Mr. Chair, is financial empowerment through training and opportunities in the future if they turn from a life of crime.
I thank you. We can then take it, and I assume you read the article, and you've answered in the negative. We can then take it, beg your pardon, that those young men were misleading the public by the content of that story. Honourable member for the city, this is an exchange between the two of us. If you need further assistance from Christchurch East, let us adjourn and bring him. I have asked Your Honor, the Chair, I have asked a direct question to and of a very polite honourable member for the city. And he is about to
Honourable
answer.
Leader of the Opposition, therefore, give him the opportunity to answer.
I wish he would be given that opportunity by the honourable member for
Thank you,
Christchurch East,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
who distracted the
Honourable
gentleman.
member, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Sorry, Mr. Yeah, you understand? I think I
Commotion.
understand.
There is commotion.
Mr.
Bring the
Chair, I
paper.
don't believe, I think the honourable member asked the question, and I would like the opportunity to answer.
Yes,
in a-
let me
in a-
repeat
in a
it. Let me
dispassionate
repeat
way.
it so that you wouldn't be
Honourable
confused.
Leader of the Opposition,
Yes.
you do not need to repeat it. I think the Honourable member is quite clear.
So he understands that the question, Your Honor, is whether
just give
those
him
young
the
men were misleading
opportunity.
the
He
public.
is quite clear on that, Honourable member. Give him the opportunity to respond.
Mr. Chair, I don't believe that anybody was seeking to mislead. I think what happens with the use of language.
No,
particularly
I beg your pardon, sir.
You want to tell me how to
I think
answer?
the honourable member is misunderstanding.
Honourable Leader of the
question.
Opposition, you cannot interpret for the Honourable member
Yes,
for the
but I'm
city.
clarifying, Your Honor.
Just
I
give
think
him
I'm
the,
entitled to
just
clarify
give
the
him,
question.
I've ruled, Honourable member, give him the opportunity to respond. just like you require, or you often, I mean, you need to be heard in silence, let him be heard in silence.
Guided, sir. Guided, sir. And I am seeking, let them applaud. You don't really applaud a person in the chair, you know. Just tell
Mr.
them
Chair,
that it discloses, by applauding your ruling, they're disclosing that there's possible bias on your part. Please
Honourable Leader
advise
of the
honourable members
Opposition.
that you never applaud a ruling of the chair because the inference is that the chair is biased in your favor. Tell them that. Tell them that. They don't understand it. Tell them.
Honourable Leader of
You
the
never
Opposition.
applaud a ruling of the chair.
Honourable member of
It is
the
an
Opposition.
insult to the chair.
Would you please give the Honourable member
On a point of order,
respond?
on a point of order, sir, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Standing Committee, the
He's not
Honourable Leader of
party to this,
Opposition
sir. He
is
not-
misleading
the honourable
this
member
chamber.
is not party to this.
I was one of the persons thumping, and in no way was I intending to convey any disrespect
It
to
isn't
the
what the
chair
honourable
or
member
say,
intends. It is the effect. You do not applaud the chair.
but did you not?
Inference is that the chair is biased. Don't argue that.
There was no suggestion
You
from
can't
this
kill
side
me,
that was the
no.
case.
Honourable
You can't
Leader
kill me.
of the Opposition, I have given a
You can't
directive,
kill me.
I have ruled in this. Would you please
You can stand up
give
your face
the
like Hurricane
Honourable
Elsa.
member
You can't
for
do me nothing.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition, my next move will be to ask the Marshal to come and remove the Honourable Leader. Let the proceedings continue. I have ruled on the matter, and I expect that you will abide
What
by
is
the
your
ruling.
ruling, sir?
I ask you to give the Honourable member for the city the
Yes.
opportunity to
Yes.
respond.
Yes, Your Honor. Tell them to stop applauding you. You don't applaud the chair.
Honourable member for the city.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I would like to move from the emotive to the motive. As we've all agreed in this house that crime is a very, very...
Emotive to the, I'm not here.
Move from the emotive
Yes.
to motive.
Automotive.
Yes.
Much obliged.
We agree that crime is a very serious matter. And I regret some PME that we have to reduce it to what it has been reduced to, Mr. Chair. But we were saying that when we look at language, I think it's more about the use of language than the motive of trying to mislead. I do not believe that the journalists, those who would have been interviewed or who took up and did the second story after the first story that was satisfactory to my mind. I think that being told that you may get, through training, you can get financial empowerment can be easily misinterpreted that you are being promised financial assistance. And throughout this entire program, I think it's sad because it looks like an easy mark, so people go after. But throughout this entire program, to answer the honorable member, we've mixed up a peace agreement with a peace program. Not understanding that the peace agreement and the peace program is not fungible. It is two different things, completely. The peace program is the overall thing, where the peace agreement is 1% of what the National Crime Prevention Program does. We've mixed up crime fighting with crime prevention. We've mixed up crime with homicide. So many times, even us in here, we say crime going up because homicide is going up, but crime overall has gone down, where homicide has gone up. So I think it's just, honorable member, being genuine. I think we missing up language.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you may tell somebody, I can try to get back to you, and they say, no, you promise. We just insert words and use them loosely. So I do believe, when Inspire briefs me and say that they do not promise any financial assistance or pay anybody, that you can get financial empowerment through training and coming out of a life of crime, that is genuinely what they meant.
I see. So you being a good student of language will now wish to make the distinction between financial assistance and financial empowerment. And we now understand that the offer of financial empowerment as contradistinct from financial assistance was made. We can agree on that. It was in the form of empowerment. No, you want to answer? Yeah, I'm leading to the question now. No, that's the question. Are you clarifying for the sake of this honorable house and this public?
Yes, please.
That the answer is yes. That financial empowerment was offered and not financial assistance. And you said yes. Thank you very much.
Lunch? No?
May I proceed, sir? May I proceed, sir? Or they want water?
Do you have a?
They want mercy or water?
You have a
No, I'm asking about y'all, not the speaker, not the chairman of committees.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, proceed.
I thank you so much, sir. Now I'm back to the learned Attorney General. At the same table on page 78, and I'm not going to state the numbers, let the public guess for the time being, there will be a time and place. At category 315, my earlier question was 314 grants to individuals. We've now had it clarified that those individuals receive not financial assistance, but financial empowerment. Let us therefore go to 315, I beg your pardon, which says grants to non-profit organizations. May I proceed, sir? May I proceed, sir?
I did not stop you.
I want you to stop the voices that compete with me.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, please utilize the time that you've been given.
Thank you very much, sir.
Please utilize.
When you hear them, quiet them, sir. I beg you. You hearing them?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, proceed, please.
Thank you, sir. Grants to non-profit organizations. And I'm going to follow the language advanced by this honorable team. Do those non-profit organizations have names, corporate names?
All organizations are not corporate, sir. I think you would appreciate that. So the King's Trust, which received $300,000 from the program,
Yes.
is not a body corporate.
Yes,
The St. James Methodist Church that received $350,000 from the
Yes.
program under grants to non-profit organizations is
Yes.
not body corporate.
yes,
James Street,
yes.
the Boy Scouts Association that has just received $250,000. Crime Stoppers received $150,000.
During 23, 24, give us those figures again, please. Your colleagues were very keen to hear the names. Let us hear the numbers. Yes, could you repeat the numbers if you don't mind, Honourable Attorney General?
I'm happy to repeat what I just gave you.
Thank you very much.
I believe the figure for St. James Methodist Church was in the region of, James Street Methodist Church was in the region of $350,000.
Yes,
The King's Trust would have received in the region of $300,000.
thank you.
Crime Stoppers, $150,000.
Yes,
The Boy Scouts Association in this current financial year received $250,000.
thank you.
So your question was whether there are corporate.
No. I asked if you can provide corporate names, and you've done so.
Well, fine.
And with an excellent memory, unless you're looking at your screen. I commend your memory. 6, 8. And Honourable Attorney General, were these payments made during year 2023-24?
St. James Methodist Church was paid, James Street Methodist Church, I don't know why I keep confusing the two.
Well, you don't stop annoying the man, eh?
James Street Methodist Church was paid during 23-24. King's Trust was also paid during 23-24.
Don't let them distract you.
You don't worry about whether I'm distracted or
Thank you
not.
very much.
You just...
Now, I'm going to take you back. We're still on this page.
Honorable member, you have exceeded your 3 supplementary questions. Are you aware of that? You can come again later. You have exceeded your 3 according to the standing order, sir.
They're applauding you again, sir. The Attorney General wants some more questions.
I'm here to answer all the questions you
Precisely.
have.
But his,
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, your time is up.
So I can come back later.
questions,
Yes.
you can come back.
Thank you very much, sir.
According to the standing order, which I say 7-3,
Yes.
which I invite you to read.
You're very fair and kind, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that you do not report progress to His Honor the Speaker and beg leave to sit again.
The question is that I do not report progress to His Honor the Speaker. Beg to leave to sit again. All honorable members in favor, say aye. Honorable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
It appears they may have to come out here. Just appears they may have to come out here before my time. Honorable Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the suspension of the House until 2:45 p.m.
The question is that this honorable chairman will be suspended until 2:45 p.m. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This honorable chairman stands suspended until 2:45 p.m.